Have you ever felt like life is passing you by, while you're just trying to catch your breath? You wake up, go through the motions, try your best to smile, but somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice keeps whispering, "Is this all there is?" In a world that never stops shouting, we forget how to listen to ourselves, to our heart, to the moments that actually matter. But what if everything you've been searching for, peace, purpose, clarity, wasn't out there, but already within you? This isn't just another motivational video. This is a mirror held up to your soul. A soft but honest reminder of the truths we all tend to forget. This is not about changing your life overnight, but about seeing it differently, deeply, truthfully. Stay with me for just a few minutes. Because by the end of this video, you may not have all the answers, but you'll remember what questions truly matter. Let's take a quiet journey, not through the noise of success or perfection, but through the calm lessons life has always been trying to teach us. You just have to listen. Sometimes, the quietest moments hold the loudest answers. In the silence between our thoughts, we find whispers of truths we've long forgotten. Not from books, not from the noise of the world, but from within where time slows and clarity begins. It's easy to rush through life, waking up just to survive another day, checking boxes, chasing dreams that may not even be ours. But when we pause, truly pause, the view changes. Suddenly, the sunrise isn't just light, it's a moment of hope. The breeze isn't just air, it's a reminder that we're still here, breathing. But we often search for happiness in distant lands, in people, in money, in recognition. But sometimes, happiness isn't loud. It doesn't knock at your door. It sits beside you quietly, while you drink your morning coffee, or when you laugh with someone who truly sees you. Life teaches us not through grand speeches, but through subtle nudges. A broken friendship teaches us more about love than 100 romantic quotes. A missed opportunity teaches us about patience and timing. And pain, though we resist it, often becomes our greatest teacher. There's wisdom in being misunderstood. When you're not seen or heard the way you hoped, it hurts deeply. But slowly, you learn that your worth doesn't depend on how many people understand you. You begin to live not for validation, but for authenticity. Some people will never say thank you, no matter how much you give. Some won't notice your efforts, and that's okay. You don't give to be noticed. You give because that's who you are. The quiet strength of kindness doesn't need an audience. We carry so much expectations, guilt, regrets, but life isn't about carrying everything. Sometimes, it's about letting go. Letting go of what you thought your life should look like, and accepting what it is. Letting go of the past, not because it didn't matter, but because it already served its purpose. Time has a way of revealing what truly matters. 10 years from now, most of the things you're worrying about today won't even be remembered. But the moments you were kind, the risks you took, the love you gave, those will echo. You don't need to have it all figured out. Nobody does. And those who seem like they do, they're just better at pretending. We're all walking through fog sometimes, trusting our feet to find solid ground. Don't compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. Everyone's journey is written in a different language. And no, not everyone will understand your story, but that doesn't make it any less valuable. Success isn't always a trophy. Sometimes, success is choosing to keep going when everything inside you says stop. Sometimes, it's waking up and making your bed even when you feel lost. Small victories count. Quiet resilience is still strength. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too old. You are right on time for the life that's meant for you. There is no fixed timeline, no universal deadline by which things must happen. There's a sacred kind of peace in accepting the now, not because you've given up, but because you've stopped resisting life as it is. Peace doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you're not fighting with reality anymore. People will leave. People will disappoint. But you'll survive, again and again. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means carrying the scar with pride, knowing you lived through something that tried to break you. The strongest people aren't those who never cry. They're the ones who cry, fall apart, and still find the strength to stand up, brush off the dust, and try again. Not for applause, but because giving up is not in their nature. Love yourself enough to walk away from what hurts you, even if it's familiar. Love yourself enough to wait for the kind of love that doesn't confuse or abandon you. The love that feels like home. Speak gently to yourself. Your inner voice matters more than anyone else's. Be your own protector, your own safe space. Forgive yourself for not knowing better before. You were doing the best you could with what you had, and now you know more. Now you grow. You don't need to chase every answer. Some things will only make sense in hindsight. Trust that not everything needs fixing. Some things just need time. The world is noisy, and you'll be told to hustle, to grind, to become someone. But don't forget, you already are someone. Someone enough. Even if you're still growing. Even if you're still lost. Sit with yourself sometimes, without distractions. Listen not to reply, not to plan, but just to be present with who you are beneath the noise. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are the lessons you learned, the strength you found, the love you continue to give, and even on your worst days, you are still worthy of rest, of joy, of peace. Asterisk, there are moments in life that don't make sense. Well, they're happening. You question everything, your choices, your timing, your worth. But later, when the dust settles, you realize they were necessary chapters. Not pleasant, not easy, but essential. We often mistake control for safety. We think if we can plan every step, we'll avoid pain. But life isn't a straight road. It turns when you least expect, often into paths you never imagined walking. And sometimes, the detour becomes the destination. The heart has its own memory. It remembers words spoken in anger and gestures that were never made. It carries silent grief, uncelebrated wins, and small joys that never reached the surface. And through it all, it beats. Softly, steadily, faithfully. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow beyond the version of yourself others are comfortable with. It doesn't mean you've betrayed your past. It means you've honored your evolution. Growth often feels like loss, because you leave behind what no longer fits. Don't be afraid to be the quiet one in the room. Silence doesn't mean emptiness. It can mean depth, awareness, listening. There's great strength in observing without rushing to speak, in understanding without the need to explain yourself. Sometimes, closure doesn't come. The apology you waited for never arrives. You may never understand why someone hurt you, or why something ended. But healing doesn't wait for permission. You are allowed to move on, even with unanswered questions. Kindness will cost you. It will make you feel alone sometimes. People may take it for weakness, but keep choosing it. Because in a world that teaches hardness, softness is rebellion. And in a world that glorifies ego, humility is grace. There is no perfect version of life. There's no moment where everything falls into place and stays that way forever. There will always be uncertainty. But peace comes when you stop needing guarantees and start trusting the process. Trust that the version of you, who wakes up every day and tries, even with doubts, even with tired eyes, that version is already doing enough. Don't wait for someone to choose you before you choose yourself. Don't wait to be rescued. Be your own safe place. Be the person you needed when you were younger. Rest is not laziness. Slowing down is not failure. You are not a machine. You don't need to earn rest. Through productivity, you deserve it because you're human. You'll never be able to avoid pain completely, but you can choose how you respond to it. You can choose to let it shape you, not shatter you. Pain can turn into wisdom if you give it space to breathe. Sometimes, the person you miss the most is the person you were before the heartbreak, before the pressure, before life got heavy, and that's okay. You can grieve versions of yourself, just like you grieve people. But don't forget, new versions of you are waiting to be discovered. There's courage in admitting you're not okay. There's no strength in pretending. Your feelings are not too much. Your emotions are not a burden. You're allowed to be soft in a world that constantly asks you to be strong. You don't need to prove your worth by overworking or overgiving. You don't need to be exhausted to feel valuable. You are enough, even when you're still figuring things out. Life has a way of teaching through repetition. You'll keep meeting the same lesson in different forms until you finally learn it. And when you do, you'll look back with understanding, not regret. There's something beautiful about surviving things you once thought would break you. Not just surviving, but rising. Wiser, quieter, but stronger. You are allowed to protect your peace. Not every fight deserves your energy. Not every invitation deserves a yes. You can disappoint others and still be a good person. Your boundaries are not rude. They are a declaration of self-respect. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is rest. To pause, to breathe, to say, not today. And that doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Healing isn't a straight line. There will be days you feel like you've moved backwards. But that's part of the journey too. Be gentle with yourself. Progress often looks like stillness from the outside. Let people underestimate you. Let them assume you don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth, your silence, your choices. Let your peace speak louder than your defense. There's a sacred kind of joy in small things. A quiet morning, a genuine laugh, the smell of rain, a hand to hold. Don't wait for big moments to celebrate life. You don't have to have a plan. Sometimes, surviving today is enough. Sometimes, hope is found in just putting one foot in front of the other. You are not falling behind. You are not too late. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it's meant to, in its own rhythm, in its own season. There are seasons in life where everything feels like it's falling apart. The people you trusted drift away. The goals you once chased feel meaningless. Even your own reflection in the mirror seems unfamiliar. But perhaps that's not the end. Maybe it's the quiet beginning of who you're meant to become. Growth rarely feels good while it's happening. It comes disguised as heartbreak, rejection, confusion. You don't notice the transformation until one day, something small doesn't bother you the way it used to. And in that moment, you realize you're healing. You don't need to explain your sadness to everyone. Not everyone deserves access to the depths of your heart. Some people only understand storms, not the calm after, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to walk every mile with you. There will be days when your light dims, when laughter feels far away and motivation disappears, when simply getting out of bed feels like a mountain. Those are not failures. They're signals. Your soul asking for rest, for gentleness, for grace. Don't rush to fix what's breaking inside you. Sometimes, the cracks need to breathe. Not everything broken needs repair right away. Some things need time, space, and the warmth of your own patience. You're allowed to want more. While being grateful for what you have, ambition and gratitude can exist together. You can reach for the stars without forgetting the beauty of the sky that already holds you. Let go of the version of yourself you built just to survive. The one who smiled when it hurt, who stayed silent to keep peace, who dimmed their light so others could shine. That version was brave, but you don't have to stay in survival mode forever. Peace begins where expectations end. Expectations of how life should look, how people should behave, how quickly you should heal, can become silent prisons. Freedom is in allowing life to unfold without demanding it meet every plan you made. You are more than your productivity. You are more than your resume, your deadlines, your goals. You are a living soul, meant to feel deeply, rest fully, and love freely. You are allowed to exist without constantly proving your worth. The people who truly love you will never make you feel like you're too much. They will never ask you to shrink. They will hold space for your silence, your chaos, your truth. And in their presence, you'll feel seen, not judged. Sometimes the most important conversations are the ones you have with yourself. Ask yourself, gently, what do I need right now? What am I running from? What would I say to a friend who feels the way I do? Listen, even if the answers are uncomfortable. That's where clarity lives, not in avoidance, but in honesty. You don't have to keep every door open. Some chapters deserve closure. Some connections were only meant to teach you, not to stay. Letting go is not a sign of failure, it's an act of faith. You are allowed to start over, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown who you used to be. New beginnings don't need permission. They just need courage and a little bit of hope. Be mindful of how you speak to yourself. You are listening. Speak like someone who believes in your own becoming. You've carried yourself through storms no one else even saw. Not every emotion needs a solution. Some just need acknowledgement. To sit with your sadness without rushing it away, that is self-compassion. To feel anger without shame, that is self. To allow joy, even in pain, that is resilience. You won't always feel strong, but strength isn't constant power. It's the ability to keep showing up, even when your hands are shaking, even when your heart feels heavy. The quiet days, the ordinary, uneventful ones, are not wasted. In those spaces, healing takes root in stillness. Your soul finds its rhythm again. Don't overlook the beauty of nothing extraordinary happening. Sometimes, peace is what you were truly seeking all along. There is no shame in needing help. You weren't meant to carry it all alone. We are stitched together by our need for connection, not weakness, but humanness. You are not falling behind. You're aligning with yourself, with your truth, with a future you haven't yet imagined. If you've been waiting for a sign to rest, this is it. If you've been waiting for a reason to forgive yourself, let this be enough. And if you've been wondering whether you're on the right path, remember, the right path often feels uncomfortable at first. The old you is gone, and that's a beautiful thing, because you are still becoming, still blooming, still discovering the parts of yourself that were buried under fear, pressure, and survival. You are worthy of soft places, of laughter without fear, of mornings without dread, of love without confusion, of a life that feels like yours, not one you perform for others. Even now, you are enough. Especially now, you are becoming. Some days, you'll feel invisible, as if the world is moving too fast and you're stuck watching from behind glass. But invisibility isn't the same as insignificance. You are still here, still breathing, still mattering, even when no one says it out loud. The weight you carry, the questions you hold, the ache you hide, they don't make you weak. They make you real, and real is rare. There's power in showing up just as you are, without performance. You may not be where you thought you'd be by now. The path may look different than you imagined, but maybe, just maybe, this version of life has something better to teach you. Something deeper than you would have learned if everything had gone according to plan. Pain changes people, but so does healing. And while pain often arrives without warning, healing comes in the quiet choices you make daily to forgive, to believe again, to hope even when you're scared. You don't need to keep running. There is no destination that holds all the answers. Sometimes, the wisest move is to sit still, breathe deeply, and simply exist without fixing, chasing, or changing anything. Be proud of the small things. The meals you made when you had no energy, the boundaries you enforced even when your voice shook, the tears you let fall in private, the times you kept going quietly. Not all strength is loud. Some of it is soft, like continuing when no one claps, like loving someone who doesn't love you back, like choosing peace over revenge. Grief is not just about losing people. You grieve time. You grieve versions of yourself you'll never be again. You grieve places that once felt like home. And through those quiet losses, you learn to honor your own evolution. You are not broken because you're still healing. Healing takes time. Some wounds never fully close. They become part of your story, and that's okay. You can still dance, still love, still laugh, even with scars. Be careful what you measure yourself against. Social media shows you polished lives, filtered smiles, curated moments, but real life is messy, unfiltered, slow. Don't let the highlight reel of someone else's journey make you question your own. There is wisdom in slowing down. In choosing silence over noise, stillness over rush, the world tells you to hustle, but your soul asks you to breathe. Listen to the quieter voice. It's usually more honest. You don't need to be fearless. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. And some days, courage is simply getting through the next hour. You don't need to win every battle. Some battles aren't yours to fight. Some don't deserve your energy. There's strength in choosing peace over pride. The most powerful kind of forgiveness is the one you give yourself. For the things you didn't know, for the times you stayed too long, for the words you couldn't say, for the person you're still becoming. Forgive yourself for surviving in ways you wouldn't choose today. You did what you had to. You made it through, and that deserves love, not shame. You will lose people, not because you're unlovable, but because your journey no longer matches theirs. Let them go with love. Let their part in your story remain what it was meant to be, a chapter, not the whole book. You can love people deeply and still choose yourself. You can be compassionate and still draw boundaries. You can be soft and still strong. The people meant for you will never ask you to abandon yourself to keep them. They will honor your truth, even when it challenges theirs. Don't be afraid of solitude. It's in solitude that you hear your truest thoughts. It's where you meet the unfiltered, the version of yourself, the one that doesn't perform or hide. And once you meet that self, you'll never settle for less again. The person you are becoming is worth the discomfort it takes to get there. You are allowed to change direction, to rewrite your story, to begin again. And if you feel like you've wasted years, remember, nothing is truly wasted. Not if you learned, not if you grew, not if you're here now, choosing differently. The things meant for you won't need you to beg. They'll feel like peace, not pressure, like freedom, not force. Trust that what is aligned with your soul won't need convincing. Every time you think you've hit a wall, life will remind you that walls can become doors if you push gently enough. If you stop seeing them as endings and start seeing them as redirections, don't forget to celebrate how far you've come. Not just the visible milestones, but the invisible healing. The nights you cried but didn't give up. The mornings you got out of bed despite the weight on your chest, you've come a long way. Even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if no one else noticed you did. You are a living, breathing reminder that broken things can still be beautiful. That pain can birth strength. That endings can make way for new beginnings. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not unfinished. You are becoming, and that is more than enough.